Hey guys, how's it going? And welcome to another entry in our Community Cast series. In this match, we're going to have a showdown between the forces of Norska, led by SURTHA and the Empire, who's going to be led by a Holder. So without further ado, let's jump right into this match and have some fun. So as you guys can guess, SURTHA, of course, does have a very massive Norscan army, which is a combination of a bunch of very annoying units. So firstly, he has, looks like Marauder Chariots. Yeah, and totally has a couple Marauder Chariots. We do, of course, have SURTHA over here. I guess Marauder Chief. No, we're going to call him SURTHA for the sake of this game, and it looks close enough. I mean, he has the same kind of a style going on here. So he does have SURTHA, a couple groups of Marauder Chariots here, and on the far side, he does have more Chariot action. And it looks like he is staying true to the SURTHA of old before the Marauder Ice Wolf Chariot, so he's just going straight up OG SURTHA here with Marauder Chariots, which against like state troops in the Empire are actually not bad. Of course, they don't have like the best armor piercing values against like great swords, but against like unbraced spearmen and pretty much anything they can catch, any type of infantry unit, they should do quite a bit of damage, especially in these kind of numbers. So he does have a Metal Sorcerer as well, it looks like. I think there's a Metal Sorcerer over here, and it looks like Piercing Bolts, which is really good against the new Empire Handgunner back line. One really well-casted Piercing Bolts can shred like half the HP of a group of handgunners. It looks like he has Plague of Rust, which he's probably going to use Plague of Rust on like the Great Swords over here, and then from there get like the SURTHA Chariots in there. For his army, just a bunch of Marauders, so extremely wide. And for anyone who's seen my games against the Empire, I personally think one of the best ways to beat the Empire is just to go super wide. Empire, with its nets, its focus fire from its handgunners, its Demogryph Knights, really excels at taking out narrow armies and elite targets with nets and just shooting them down. But against a wide army, their tactics become exponentially less effective. So he does have 3 groups of spearmen on each flank, or actually 2. A couple groups of marauders, nothing elite or regiments for now, just straight up SURTHA. Regular Marauder Horseman on this side. Looks like he's going to be doing some harass and just kind of poking with these guys. And he does have 3 groups over here. So, man, just a wild army. And for his opponent, the mighty forces of the Empire. They have a General of the Empire. They do also have a Light Wizard, Nets of Amnitok, Vaz Protection, and Banishment. Pretty much the standard competitive suite there. He does have 2 groups of Demogryph Knights with halberds to take out any monsters. And these guys are going to be the keys to success for the Empire. If he's able to get these guys and, pin down the chariots and just cut them to shreds with the Demogryph Knights, he's going to be in really good shape. Front line of state troops, so spearmen on the entire front line. He does have the Hellstorm Rocket Battery, the new and improved Hellstorm. Looks like, but, there's not too many good infantry targets. It's just going to be mostly shooting at Marauders, but it looks like he is turning to maybe shoot it at some of these horsemen, which, with how, bunched up they are, that's probably a good idea. Silver Bullets, a couple groups of great swords, so he has elite infantry in the secondary line, with Flagellants, of course, supporting the flanks and spearmen in the front. But without further ado, let's get this show underway. So you can see the forces of SURTHA are kind of just encircling the wagon right here. You can see that the Marauder Horsemasters, are these Horsemasters? Oh, it looks like there's 2 horsemen and then also some Horsemasters mixed in there, which is pretty cool. But they're just going to be kiting and poking. They're not the throwing axe variant, so they don't have a ton of AP against these very heavily armored Demogryph Knights with 125. But it looks like a very good Piercing Bolts of Burning going down right there, which actually is able to do, about like 10-15% HP damage on those great swords. And SURTHA is just surrounding him right now. And the Demogryph Knights, even though they're not facing off against throwing axes, are actually really getting peppered down. So maybe we're going to see a net going down here from the Light Wizard. It looks like we do, and it might be a miss. Oh, that's so unfortunate. It looks like it missed the second group because he targeted the ground rather than the unit, which can, pay off. But, oh, what is that? What is that? Did it only last that long? That's so rough. So, look, wait, are they still netted? Oh, man, did we just, capture a bug for the first time? Maybe we did, but maybe the SURTHA cannot be, it's beyond mortal comprehension. Nets cannot do anything to him, so... Man, that is... Oh, man, I feel bad for the Empire. That's pretty unfortunate there if that was actually a bug, or maybe it's just a graphic thing, but who knows. Another Piercing Bolt's going to be coming in from SURTHA as the Hellstorm Rocket Battery does continue to shoot in against some Marauders. And he should probably get that and just shoot at the Horsemen, to be honest. It's not going to do a whole lot. I mean, he might rout off 1 or 2 group of Marauders, if even, but... Yeah, it's some pretty wild stuff. So SURTHA just continuing to circle. The Marauder Horsemasters are now being screened out by Spearmen, which don't have shields, so they will take quite a bit of damage, but... And the Silver Bullets are also shooting here. And man, that one volley from the Silver Bullets, just some Steel Faith and hot gunpowder over here, is able to do some heavy damage against those Marauder Horsemen, which is very good. The Empire player is going to be responding and moving his Spearmen out to defend the flanks. In the meantime, the Hellstorm Rocket Battery just changing its targets over to the Marauders, and yeah, I guess it's netting some okay value, but SURTHA is just biding his time. He's trying to get a full surround, get the chariots in, and you can see that he's going to be leading his forces. And it looks like another net going down over here. The net of Amnitok and the Demogryph Knights are ready now. And it looks like they're actually snared. The Spearmen are coming in, and this is just going to be absolute pound town. So the Demogryph Knights come in, and they're just flattening these Marauder Horsemen. And also the General of the Empire is coming in. So a nice little grab there with the nets of Amnitok. He's probably going to not want to overcast it. Just be very methodical, use a net every now and then, pick off a group, retreat, pick off a group, retreat. Because he is just being, just assailed by these chariots right now. You can see the Demogryph Knights are chasing these ones off, but there's so many chariots and so many angles of pressure. It's going to be tough to defend all this. But he's doing a pretty good job staying composed. He's able to get those Marauder Horsemen over there. You can see SURTHA Ek continuing with the pressure right here. The Marauder Horsemen are just kiting back, obviously, on skirmish mode. And just doing some, kind of poking away. And the Marauder Hordes in the front are just kind of waiting. It's kind of ominous, just sitting there and glooming over and just staring at the greatswords, letting the chariots and the other troops do some work. Of course, getting some pretty good value with the piercing bolts down the front line, which is softening them up quite a bit. But the chariots here have actually gotten into the cookie jar a little bit. So SURTHA Ek, he needs not charge. He can just stand and fight from the back of his chariot, and you can see the General of the Empire is coming for him, which is pretty much a hard counter to it like a chariot lord. So SURTHA Ek needs to retreat. His General of the Empire is absolutely just going to dumpster him if he stays and tries to fight. But you can see the chariot legions are going to pull back. It looks like over here the metal caster, or is that a metal caster? It might just be a chariot. It looks like a couple of them are caught up on some of those demis. And just a wild fight. Just a wild fight. Now that there's an opening here, he was able to, get the attention of the general and some of these other troops and Demogryph Knights. He did leave a group of Marauder Horsemen hidden over here, and now they're coming in for the cookie jar. They're going to get those silver bullets and potentially get, honestly, it probably won't be much, but a really good net of Ammontok coming down from the Light Wizard. And oh no, it is SURTHA Ek's reckoning. So the Empire Knights are going to come in with the General of the Empire. They get a great charge, just punishing a couple of those guys off their mounts. So this is just such a wild game. But the Marauder Hordes are still waiting. They're starting to envelop a little bit, and this is a very good tactic by SURTHA Ek. He's advancing these spearmen right here on the flanks, which is going to help screen out the Demogryph Knights and open up the chariot play. But still, it looks like he did get into the silver bullets right here, and the chariots smell blood in the water. So the horsemen were able to chase the silver bullets beyond the front line, and then here come the SURTHA Ek chariots. So now the wrath of the campaign lords coming in here, and they're going to be cleaving on these silver bullets, which is going to be very, very punishing. Although these Marauder Horsemen probably going to take quite a bit of damage fighting in there. Silver bullets after this chariot charge are basically just going to be absolutely massacred. They probably won't be fighting much longer. Spearmen pushing in from Norska. It looks like they are advancing on the flanks, and a couple of these spearmen haven't really moved much. But the SURTHA Ek chariots are just kind of running shop now on the infantry. The silver bullets are pretty beat up. 54 models. They could still rally and be pretty useful here. They've lost mostly HP rather than their actual models, but the chariots just kind of like charging through. And are they charging into the Demogryph Knights? Oh, he's a madman. He used the Plague of Rust, putting them down to 60 armor. And I don't know, is he actually... This is the first time I've seen like a horde of chariots maybe like take out a group of Demogryph Knights. No way they're going to work here. Well, let's watch anyways. Demogryph Knights are losing models to the chariots here as well as SURTHA. The SURTHA Ek, he does have fight or die, which is a pretty useful mechanic. And you can see the Hellstorm rocket battery is going to be shooting in. And the Marauders are now advancing, so the fight's underway. Spearmen for Norska on the far side have been routed off, and there is a very big Imperial contingent here. A lot of angry dudes who've just been dealing with the chariots and all that kind of fun stuff. But somehow the Demogryph Knights are getting pounded out a little bit just by the chariots, and they have fight or die. So I guess like SURTHA Ek is good against enemy cav. I don't know. It's I wouldn't recommend it, but with the Plague of Rust, he was able to make that a much more kind of a feasible engagement. And then the horde of chariots are just swarming into the back of these spearmen, just running them over, and just a tide of these horrible chaos chariots, which are just the scourge of everyone's campaign. But the Demogryph Knights fighting hard. Royal, damn, they're down to 8 models, but they did terrify the Marauder Chieftain right there. And it looks like the Hellstorm rocket battery, which only had a couple shots left, is probably going to be shut down now by these Marauder Horsemen. Demogryph Knights from the Empire, of course, the second group that hasn't been eradicated by SURTHA Ek is going to be charging in, and the Demogryph Knights with their massive paws are going to be pawing these guys down. But it looks like the chariots are coming in as well. Just 2 groups of standard Marauder chariots, and let's take an just a glance at the battlefield. So there's a bunch of Marauders. It's kind of a fighting, but it looks like what he's doing is he engages the greatswords and then he starts running. So then that pulls the greatswords away from the main fight. That is a really solid tactic right there. And you can see that the Shaman Sorcerer with the Lore of Metal here is just continuing to ride around as well. And he uses Plague of Rust, and then he swarms the Demogryph Knights with chariots, which is interesting. I mean, their combat stats are pretty sad, but the Plague of Rust makes them, exponentially squishier here. You can see the General of the Empire. He's where he wants to be. You just want to have this General of the Empire kind of beating down these chariots and just doing whatever he can there. And the Marauder Chieftain, I am thoroughly shocked at how much damage these Demogryph Knights are taking just from hordes of chariots. That is something I've never seen before. The Marauder Hordes are doing okay, though. The Greatswords are being taken for a bit of a loop-de-loo. They have 28 speed compared to the 35 of Marauders, so the Marauders are very good at kind of getting away from them. And it looks like there's some Demogryph Knights over here. Is that the same group that's kind of trapped? I think this is the... Yeah, they rallied. They're in pretty good shape. They might be able to take out this Shaman Sorcerer with Lore of Metal, but it's a very even fight. Balance of power might be slightly in SURTHA Ek's favor. It's a little bit hard to say. You can see the General of the Empire, of course, getting some huge damage on SURTHA Ek, but he's surrounded by the chariots now as well. And it looks like he's, apologies, Wookiee's just shambling in the room. You guys might hear his claws. But it looks like the General of the Empire is taking quite a bit of damage from all these chariots. The Royal Altar of Griffites are rushing back in, but there's Marauder Horsemen coming in. There's some Horse Masters, and they're probably going to be able to swarm the Empire right here. And of course, Norscan troops, these spearmen do probably have the enraged mechanic. So I would assume after this very prolonged fighting, they're relatively close to their maximum caps. What is it, Wookie? You okay back there? Sorry, that's my dog. He's just causing problems. But yeah, the General of the Empire does have fast protection, giving him armor and melee defense, and he's up to 57. But that is not saving him from the hordes of SURTHA Ek right here. He is just getting surrounded and beaten on, and this is pretty crazy for sure. But he's making it work, and that's probably going to be it for the Empire, guys. I think at this point it's just going to be like, cleaning up flagellants. You can see the General of the Empire is pretty beat up, and now they're just going to go after the flagellants right here, which are down to like 10 or 11 models. That was quite a swarm, and I really thought that was pretty cool, using the Plague of Rust to make the Demogryph Knights like a 60 armor unit, and then just swarming them with the chariots and the Marauder Horsemen, which traditionally have very low AP, but with the Plague of Rust, they were actually able to grind them down pretty good. But again, wide armies are very good against isolationist Empire armies, so you can play Empire in a multitude of different ways. You can use heavy cav, in conjunction with infantry, Volkmar the Grim on his chariot. But this is more of like an isolation tactic meant to take out monsters. Demogryph Knights with nets and silver bullets are very good against like big, angry monsters and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, very well played to both SURTHA Ek as well as Holder. It was definitely a very fun match to watch. We got Demogryph Knights, we got nets, we got the Sunmaker. Well, not Sunmaker, Hellstorm Rocket Battery, but it was definitely some good stuff. So thanks again for sending in the replay, guys. Hopefully you all enjoyed, and we will see you guys next time. Take care.